Hi, everybody. Welcome to Beyond the Backcast, where I am up here talk with Braydon Kenny to talk about Batman, the animated series. And this week's episode is another Penguin episode with Birds of a Feather. There you go. I remembered to get to what next week's episode is, but I forgot to write down what this week's episode was. How you doing today, sir?
Oh, Mr. Apple, dear boy, how are you today? Very, very smashing indeed.
I am well. I'm well.
Yeah, can
So,
you
as I
guys hear
said,
the wine that I'm drinking over this?
slosh, slosh, slosh.
Yeah, I'm going for a pure visual gag in an audio medium because I'm a scholar.
For that case, I should have broken out the scotch that I have like right there then.
Oh, let's do
Yeah, yeah, but as I said, this week's episode is Birds of a Feather. That is the 47th episode produced, but it's the 52nd episode to air, which happened to air February 8th, 1993. So I think this is like what, like our fourth or fifth episode to air in 1993 so far, I think.
That sounds right.
And the teleplay is by Bryn Stevens. The story is by Chuck Menville, and then it's directed by Frank Power. So he's returning to direct. So I think I think this might be the one who's directed the most so far. I think, if
That sounds
memory
right.
serves. Yeah, because I think I remember. I think I remember his name more most over around else so far. That's directed.
Yeah, this episode is Batman meets dinner for schmucks. But it's surprisingly, you'd think like, oh, this is gonna be like a really stupid, really like, crazy episode. This was actually really good. I don't know about you, but I really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, because actually, instead of just like the penguin just doing regular crime stuff, it's just a bit of reverse. I don't know. I guess it's not much of a reverse, but yeah, it's just like like how he's viewed in the echelon of Gotham as a whole. That's not in the dregs of the community or the criminal underworld, really, and it's very much looked down upon because I think most penguin iterations is that he's kind of like in the upper ranks of Gotham and kind of doing crime on the DL for the most part, I think, right?
Yeah,
Until he gets busted by Batman or whatever doing a thing or something like that, or if he does, yeah, it's just kind of doing everything on the DL and still trying to you know raise the pinky, as it were, drinking his tea with the
he
Gotham
would
youths.
raise the flipper pinky, wouldn't he?
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
this is definitely a penguin who's aiming for high society, and he's trying to earn his place among the, as you said, the upper echelons of Gotham, as it were. And he thinks that he's finally achieved his dream, only to find out that it's not that simple. And yeah, one thing that's also of note, Batman's not in this episode a whole lot, which you think would be a disadvantage, but in fact, he's served just appropriately enough to kind of get things into making it a good perspective on like who the Penguin really is, because this starts out with Penguin, trying to rob some art pieces. I think it was Audubon was the artist who is
Yeah.
a very prevalent
I, I didn't know Rhodes did art. Sorry, bad dad joke.
yeah, this he's like a prevalent like bird artist and stuff, and so of course Penguin's gonna go for that kind of thing. And
Uh,
even as Penguin and his goons are robbing the curator who he's tied up, he's like, well, at least you've been robbed by someone of impeccable taste like myself. And that's when Batman swings in, and I, I don't know what to call these batarangs. They're like not handcuff batarangs. They're specifically designed to like nail your wrist to the wall without puncturing the flesh? Like, how do you describe that? Like, I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, well, no, I just think it's his regular ones, and it's just kind of like they just have it drawn so that the outer two are kind of sticking out a bit more
Yeah.
than the inner two, so that yeah. But to say he's fairly confident with his aim because that was extremely close to that art piece, even though like on the both wrists that like he was right on, but still like you gotta be like right on if you're if you're trying to like save like Presley's art and you throw them like sharpened metal things and you see later on that they're like actually even on the other side is a fairly sharp. So if you missed, you'd fuck up that art piece pretty bad.
Yeah.
But at least with Batman, he'd be or not as Batman as Bruce Wayne. If he did fuck it up, he'd be able to and like he could like donate the exact amount of how much that painting cost to the insurance for that for that art place because I'm sure it's like yeah, I'm sure like all that shit's in there, and yeah, like in a museum it's insured, right? Like all the art and stuff. I'm sure that's how that works, right? I think.
Yeah. Or he charges it to the back credit card.
No, I just meant like just like for like in a museum or whatever. Like all the pieces are insured to some extent. I would imagine, but I'm
You
not
would
sure
hope
how that
so,
works.
because otherwise that's a lot of money going up in flames if something bad was to happen.
Yeah, but as I said, yeah, it's like that penguin is like doing the thing, he gets caught right away, and then the next scene is him, I guess, like having served his term or however long this term was in jail, and he's getting back out again. And then who was that they was he talking to? Just like one of the guards at the jail, or somebody else. Like he's like,
Yeah.
and he was just saying like, hey, like, the upper echelon's going to be like excited to see me once I get out, sort of thing.
Yes. The cream of society is waiting upon my feathered fingers to greet them again. And yes, I shall be going into the brisk morning, as it were. And that's when he's like, indeed, a limousine awaits for me. And that's when, of course, it cues to like him just waiting to an like empty like parking lot and just looking so
Yeah.
disappointed.
Yeah, just the yeah, the no, every like exit you see from a jail cell is just like a dirt road and like like a never ending dirt road, and he's like expecting like the that rousing audience out there and stuff, and it's like nobody. Then like the bus rolls up and the bus driver's like, get in because we're late, or pretty much sort of thing, and he's like, well, fuck, what the hell, and he's like, I guess.
It's the bus driver from South Park. Yeah. One thing that I also caught rewatching this again was I don't know if it's an intentional choice, but I think it helps with kind of the humanizing of Penguin because that is very much like a thing that they try and establish here. Like, of course, any villain can say, "Oh, I'm like a reformed criminal" and stuff like that. But Penguin is actually serious, as far as we can tell, that he wants to try and like leave crime behind.
Yeah, because
And
as he was exiting the jail there, he said whoever he was talking to, yeah, he's like, hey, like I've seen the error of my ways. I want to get back to just like the high society part of being the Penguin or whatever, or who I once was as Oswald, or I didn't quite say that, but pretty much that's what he was at one point, yeah, sort of thing, yeah.
and I think the animation helps a lot here because you see more expressions than we're used to with the penguin. I think uh, kind of funny. They most of the time they kind of let the monocle kind of do all the talking when it comes to the penguins like visuals. But here there's a lot of times where the monocle is actually facing away from the audience to show like kind of the man underneath, which I don't know if it was just a coincidence or like a deliberate choice, but I felt really helped convey a sense of like vulnerability to him because like by the end of this episode, man, your heart breaks for the penguin. Like just watching what he goes through and like this stuff, and I don't know, it. it for like a very short story in the grand scheme of things, it's solid delivery. Like I loved I can't remember, I'm gonna look it up real quick, but like the actor who plays the penguin, I think it's like Paul Freeman, maybe. But yeah, he did like one heck of a job here. Just like the range of like uh just his unique take on the character. And yeah, like I don't know. Paul Williams, pardon me. Yeah, just really, really good job on this role.
Yeah, yeah, he's always pretty good. Yeah, because I think if I remember serves, I think Penguin's the one that shows up the most in this as one of the villains. I think, or one of the was the most. Yeah, so he always does a good job as a Penguin in the show. Yeah.
Hmm. And as he's on his way back home, that's when we cut to two characters, one of which is the highlight of this episode for me. Because, yeah, I mean, it was an emotional episode on terms of the penguin, but with this guy, this character was a riot. One Pierce Chapman, who and his friend Veronica Vreeland. So Veronica is this like high society gal who's, like kind of like a socialite of Gotham, and Pierce is kind of like, I guess, her like best friend or kind of lackey. But Pierce has got this Locust Valley like lockjaw accent, like, that there was the Joker crashing Muffy's party the other day, like just letting my chin do all the talking with this role. And I was
Yeah.
dying every time this guy opened his mouth. He sounded like,
Yeah. Yeah. It's like one of the it's a guy you'd expect to see in like Janeway's like holodeck thing of like the old English stuff she goes to like relax and sorry character. Yeah.
yeah. He reminded me of Mr. Howell from Gilligan's Island, like, just dream away, snooze and dream. That's right. Hand me that stock over there so I can wipe my ass with it. Yes.
Yeah, so it cuts to them, and then he's like asking her what's wrong or something like that, and she's like, "Oh, I've only been invited to 24 parties this month. I must be slipping." I'm like, "Oh yeah, fuck, man. If I got into invited to 24 parties, man, something must be wrong. Like that's too many parties to go to or get invited to, even if you're going to be turning down all of them. That's a weird thing to be complaining about, I think.
Yeah. 1% problems, am I right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, I guess so.
the
Yeah.
struggle is real. But yeah,
So yeah, so they're just that. Then they're starting complaining about the doldrums and stuff and how they could get put a spark in the party again. And they like get to the point of they should like invite one of the villains, and then they first say the Joker, which yeah, he's probably like the most famous Gotham villain, but probably like the worst one to of all of them to have at your party because yeah, like yeah, you could like change his demeanor like at the drop of a hat like multiple times within the party, so you never know what the hell's going to go on with him. So
yeah,
that's
Jeffrey
probably
Dahmer wasn't available.
I still think he'd probably be a better idea. I bet I better invite them the fucking Joker, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
But like, at this point in time, like or this story, like he said that he's locked up or whatever. So they decide on like the Penguin. So I feel I probably would have went to Two Face over the Penguin. I think next,
I mean,
but I
that's the
guess if the
problem.
I guess with being like in the 1% of Gotham, I guess I did it would kind of make sense because I guess he would have been at one point one of their peers at least or whatever, or at least or just under them or something. So they probably would have known him over Two Face, I guess. But I guess yeah, I'm just looking at it from the outside perspective that I would have went for Two Face over Penguin. But
I think the reason they picked the penguin is one because he shows up in like paper in the that today's edition, but also because they figure he's the easiest to manipulate. Like Two Face would, I mean, be a bit of a kind of scandalous thing for them, but I think also there's the coin factor. Just like, what
Yeah,
if he
too.
flips the coin and it lands on the bad side and he kills everyone? Like,
Or fucks with a plane, something furious. Yeah, and just 'cause but yeah, I guess that would make sense. Yeah, so that yeah, so I guess yeah, so I guess like it would have like the paper would have been him getting out of prison. I guess then.
yeah. So yeah, they decide, like what if we call the penguin up? So cut to Penguin showing up to his apartment, and
Was that his apartment?
I'm assuming so because he
Yeah,
seemed to think
because
that people were gonna show up and surprise him. I don't know why,
oh
but
yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Because I was wondering because like yeah, he was. I guess I missed the part that he was expecting people to show up there because he was yeah because he was just like expecting people to be there, but it wasn't because he even name dropped Two Face, so it was like so I couldn't I wasn't sure if it was his place or for that. So I guess that does make sense. Yeah. So as to why the stuff would be have all like the draped with like the cloth or whatever, and that's so and for the most to the how they how Veronica knew what the phone number was to whoever it was because yeah he's like once he knew that no one else was there he sits down and then he hears a phone ring so then he picks up and it's
well,
Veronica
first
being
it's Batman who shows up to say
well
like,
what doesn't he shows up after the phone call though because he picks
no,
up
I think he
because
shows
he
up
answers
before because he doesn't know anything about like the phone call.
or
Um,
or
be,
or or at least he's not making himself known at this point, right? Because I say
well,
because I think he doesn't that, or at least he doesn't make himself known until after the phone call, right? I think,
uh, I might be
or is that,
remembering it wrong, but I think like
or I could be remembering wrong as well too. So
yeah. The point being is that he says like, I'm just telling you to keep your beat clean and like, stay out of trouble. And that's when Penguin's like, like just leave me alone. Like I'm trying to reform and stuff. And Batman's just like, yeah, sure. And Penguin tries to be funny because he picks up a can of rat poison and says, just stay for a cappuccino. Like, I mean, props for a visual gag. But yeah, as you said, the phone rings and Veronica Vreeland calls him up.
yeah, and it's like, hey, we're planning our party. Like, is it like the next day or at some point soon? And you're like, hey, do you want to come? Basically.
Yeah, like well, she wants to invite him to dinner first, and
Okay. Oh, that's what.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they go to this like fancy restaurant, and Penguin's giving her like a joke that he's like like and that's what I said, Warden, those aren't my pants. Ah! Like the whole restaurant's looking at him, and what's these these guests walk in and they're about to get seated like these like like very formal looking guests and then they say is that who I think it is and this guy says to his wife come Binky let's go what kind of
What the
name
fuck?
is Binky
Or if it's a pet name, like that's I think that's like the time or the place to be using pet like that sort of pet name.
I thought we agreed you're Binky huh
We're drinking later, man. Like, come on.
we don't use that word here yeah so yeah the maitre d is like oh my gosh man like I'm losing customers and Penguin's
Which leads to the point, like, yeah, but like after they leave and and the waiter immunity is like, hey, the meal is free as long as you leave right the fuck now. Like, how do you make it to the table and make it through the meal before they're like, oh yeah, shit, that's a fucking penguin?
fair question.
Because at this point, like, this is like it's like his what third or fourth episode at least, maybe like, five at most.
Well,
Like
and he
obviously,
says like this isn't the first time I've been here because I've had the occasional carry out hint I
yeah,
robbed the place.
yeah, so either way, like how did it take this long for them to say, or as soon as he showed up, I mean, like, hey, just sit him down, take forever to cook his meal, to say it's taking forever, and let's fucking call the cops. Not
Yeah.
be like, not be like, oh yeah, fuck, you might as well let him eat, and like, shit, he's fucking taking, they're talking forever, man. Like, just like get the fuck out of here. Like, don't you tell him to go. Like. call the cops or call fucking call Commissioner Gordon and be like, hey, if I can put up the bat signal, if I can send him over the fuck here.
It's a slow
Like,
night, Tom. We got all this fish. We gotta. He's the freaking penguin, man. Like we gotta serve it out before it spoils.
so
That's the
yeah,
thing. Penguins eating raw fish like a seal, looking
or
like
like or like how he did in fucking Batman Returns.
yeah, it really is.
Oh fuck.
So yeah,
But
they
yeah, so I still don't understand how he made it through the whole meal before they're like, get the fuck out of here. Just leave
yeah,
already.
yeah. Let's see where this goes. Oh, it went badly. No shit. Yeah, so they walk out into the night and yeah, Veronica's like I'd like to invite you to a soiree. Just a small thing, 100 people. He's of course like delighted because he wants to rub elbows with the high brass of Gotham. So they're dressed to the nines, walking through a dark alley, and that's where these like three thugs see them and they're like, wow, easy target. So they're like, okay, you guys know the routine, wallets, jewelry, all that stuff. And Penguin's like, do you know who I am? Like going full Karen. Like, do you know who I am? And they're like, no, because that's the ugliest mask I've ever seen. Like, they think his face is fake because they're like, somebody could not be that hideous. Like,
But but
wow,
but 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 again, like at this point, like how the fuck do they not know what the like that penguin, aka Oswald Cobblepot, fucking looks like?
right?
Like what kind of fucking shitty thugs are like Gotham thugs are these? Like,
Maybe they're like fresh from Central City. Like, you know the routine. I don't think you know the routine, pal. Like,
like, like I think it's more so you're in my city, so what the fuck?
yeah,
So
you're on
yeah,
my
so
turf.
like yeah, so Penguin starts to handle the thugs, and then like so again like Batman's keeping an eye at him because he's assuming that just like which I think is yeah he's probably usually right to assume this that like Sue is like one of the Gotham supervillains get out of jail or Arkham. They're automatically like gonna start whatever schemes they thought of as when they were in jail.
Hmm.
So like so he just kind of sees like three thugs and him and a girl fighting. So he thinks he's trying to steal from her. So he fucking like ties up the penguin, and then she runs over and is like, "Oh God, fucking Ozzy, what's going on?" He's like, Batman's like, "What the hell's going on?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "I'm like, it's like we're together." Like you are, you were the chick.
Are you
How
blind,
confused.
lady?
How
Or just
confusing is this,
desperate?
right?
One of the
A third
best
thing,
line. What? Go ahead.
sorry, a third thing that we're not going to say right now.
Yeah. One of the best lines is when he's like, I'm fine, my dear. I just want to make sure that you're all right, my peach. And Batman looks like he's gonna puke when
It's
he
like
says peach. Like,
Pete.
yeah, he's just like Batman looks so disappointed that Penguin's like not like committing a crime. He's just like, I don't know what to do right now. I'm just kind of standing here while Penguin and this lady are walking off into the sunset. And yeah, Penguin's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
and like and says some of the high society people don't just use like look at women as a prop just to hide that they're their alter ego. They actually like women.
yeah,
That's not Catwoman. That is.
yeah. So I believe that's when we cut briefly to Pierce and Veronica in an art gallery. And Pierce, by the way, Pierce is voiced by one Sam McMurray, who might be one of those actors that you guys have seen in a lot of things, but you might not know the
Yeah,
name
definitely.
of.
Yeah, definitely like one of those guys. Or like, oh
Yeah,
yeah, that guy.
he's been in King of Queens. I think he played Doug's boss. He was in Raising Arizona, but like if you saw this guy in another project and you figure out this guy was like the voice actor for this character, like they are few and far between in terms of like
Definitely not who I was picturing. Yeah.
Yeah, like this guy's just having a ball with this like very droll, waspy accent. Like as this, he's like, "Oh, Penguin was, getting at these thugs. What with an umbrella? Oh, he was, you say? Oh, how gauche." I think he actually used the word gauche. Like, what the hell does gauche even mean?
I don't even know. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's when Bruce Wayne walks in and he's like, "What's so funny, you guys?" And she's like, well, I invited the penguin to my party. And Bruce is like, why would you do that? And
So
Pierce is
yeah,
like,
he's like white, and you can tell he's like it was just like a very, very valid question. I think.
yeah. And Pierce has the best response for the entertainment, Dodo. Like, and Bruce is like, you invited a criminal to your high society function, and you don't think anything wrong is going to happen here? He's like, why would it? We're rich, so that means we're smart. Yeah. Like this dude was making me die with laughter every time he opened his mouth. And I was just like, yes, more of this guy every scene. And yeah, so I think Bruce said something along the lines of like, just be careful that this little joke of yours doesn't come home to roost. And yeah, that's when Pierce said like, oh, just relax, Wayne. She is like, what did he say? Oh yeah, NOKD, not our kind, dear. Like, wow, like we're really going with this. Like, okay, I think comeuppance is coming. And that's when it cuts to Penguin at the party, and just like a pig in mud, man, he is just happy as a clam, and talking, and also like just seeing some of the people he's robbed and just mocking them. Like I think he was talking to like a bank guy or something. He's like, I remember you, like I stole like thousands of dollars from
No,
you.
he was like, hopefully you've upped
That's it.
your I made your like security system better because I got through that pretty fast and blah blah blah, sort of
Yeah.
thing.
And the guy's like, sir, you leave me at a loss for words. He's like, I certainly left you at a loss of funds. And yeah, so like Pearson is just like, oh, this is a riot. Like, I'm loving this. And Veronica's like, I don't know, are we taking this too far? He's like, of course we're not. Now watch me snort some cocaine off a maid's dinnerware. Yes. And this is one of the saddest scenes coming up because you see Penguin go onto the balcony briefly, and he's like, he's clearly hiding something. Bruce is in Batman mode, like he's a guest at this scene, and he says, like, "What's that you got there, Cobblepot?" And he's like, "Did you try and take something?" He's like, "Actually, no. I have a gift for Veronica." And he's got this like, I thought it was going to be an engagement ring, and I was like, "Oh no, please don't." But it's just a step below that. It's like a golden penguin, either an earring or a stud. He's like, "I
Or a
wanted to
pin
add
or
it."
something, I think.
Yeah, or a pin. It's like I
So,
just
sort of
wanted to add
thing.
it to her collection. And Bruce is utterly shocked. He's just like, "Oh my gosh, like you're serious?" He's like, "Of course I am." He's like, and you just have this really, really tender-hearted moment of Penguin where you realize like he's wanting to leave behind everything. Like he thinks like he's finally achieved like the thing that he's wanted his whole life, just to be accepted and like to kind of like be himself. And that's exactly when the moment takes a turn for the worst, when he overhears Pierce and Veronica talking in the other room. And yeah, Pierce is not holding back. He's like, "You said it yourself. That fat bird would never be invited to a party like this. What's that big nose sticking out of the doorway? Oh, shit." And yeah, Penguin is not pleased. Um, and I was gonna say, watching this, I'm like, okay, so if he's reformed, Why did he bring a gas-inducing umbrella with him? Granted, this man was just mugged, so I can't say I blame him.
Old habits die hard. And
Yeah,
plus, he's got to do something with all those umbrellas because he's got to probably bet you has a stash of a bunch of them. So,
good point.
and plus, they probably double as the actual umbrella, so just in case. Gotham seems like it's always fucking like wet all the time, so he probably needs the umbrella
Dark
more
and wet.
often than
Gotham is Seattle,
not.
just without the Starbucks.
Yeah, they can East Coast Seattle, yeah.
And yeah, so he gasses the two of them, and Bruce Wayne overhears like, a commotion going on, and he runs into the rooms like, what happened? Because it's just Pierce there. Even after Veronica's been kidnapped by the Penguin, he sounds so droll. He's like, he took her. Like he's like he could not give the slightest bit of a shit.
Or just
So
so
yeah,
surprised he doesn't know what else to say, maybe.
yeah, probably. It's like this never happened to me. A situation that I can't buy out with money or influence. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I believe that's when we have a quick commercial break to uh Pierce like in Gordon's office, and I love Gordon just putting this guy in this place because Pierce is like, well, it's been 24 hours. Can't you do something? Like, what do I pay my taxes for? Are you incompetent flatfoot? And Gordon's like, you're the idiot who tried to piss off the penguin. And
No, yeah,
now,
you're the idiot that invited him to your party.
yeah.
So, so with this guy and Community, have you ever known like a Pierce not to be a piece of shit?
Well, considering the only one I know is Pierce Hawthorne, yeah,
Well, I guess the one exception is Pierce Brosnan because he seems pretty cool.
that's a good
So,
Pierce. Yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
I forgot about him momentarily.
that's a
So,
classy Pierce.
but, he's a good Pierce. Yeah,
Yeah.
and probably
And
and in one of my favorite Bond movies because GoldenEye is one of my I think in my top three favorite Bond movies.
yeah, baby.
It's real good. And one of my favorite, even though it is fucking music by fucking Bono and At the Edge, I do it's one of my favorite theme songs as well.
Right on. And so, yeah, he's like, putting Pierce in his place, and that's when Penguin has thrown in like I guess it's not really a drone hummingbird, but like a, whatever. It's just a robotic bird that's carrying a message.
So as Pierce is talking to the Commissioner Gordon, you see that Batman's like outside eavesdropping just so you can find out what's going on, and then you just happens to hear something, and yeah, and then it's like a little mechanical hummingbird, yeah, like that busts through the window, and then with the hummingbird nose like sticks into the wall, and it's
A
like
ransom
a
note.
note, like a ransom note. There we
Yeah.
go.
And yeah, Gordon's reading it, but what's funny is like if you look, this note is blank, which is funny because like he gives directions on it, but the funniest part is he says like, like Penguin wants the drop off of like 1 million in petty cash. And Pierce is like, oh, that's fine. Probably have $1 million stuffed away in one of my houses in Milan. Gordon's like, there's one catch. He wants you to make the drop off. And the fact that the note is blank makes me think Gordon's like, it didn't say that. I just hate you because you're an asshole. He's like, me? We've established that the police have helicopters. And yet, when Pierce
And
goes to,
blimps.
and yeah, and yet when Pierce goes to make the drop off, Gordon decides to follow him via blimp.
Oh
Blimps
yeah.
go like top speed of 75 miles per hour, dude.
Oh, I forgot
Like,
about that part. Sorry, that's why I said that earlier. Shit. I forgot that he was on the blimp. My
yeah.
bad.
Which, you know what? Given the fact that I'm not unconvinced that he's completely like thrown Pierce to the wolves in this is probably intentional that he took the blimp. He's just like, no, no, let's see where this goes. It's like, Because yeah, he goes to the corner. And I think actually one of the street corners was Power. Because you say it was Frank Power that directed this?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's probably like a little
It's-
little wink.
yeah, a nice little wink, wink to the director. Yeah, maybe. I
Yeah.
didn't catch that. Yeah.
I forgot what the other street name was, but it was probably another creative cameo there.
Oh,
But
probably.
yeah, so Pierce sees like a payphone, and he goes like the payphone starts ringing. He's like, "Hello," and Penguin
Yeah,
says,
if you just were walking down the road and you just heard a random like payphone, even though I don't think that's how payphones work, for one. Two, if you walk by like a random payphone and it started ringing, would you think to pick it up? Especially if you're like have like $1 million in your hand for the penguin. You wouldn't be like, hey, my friend, like instead of take this money to the penguin, I'm gonna answer this fucking random phone instead.
"Yes, but this is the difference, Adam. You and I are the 99%. We're street smart. This guy's a dumbass."
Apparently so, yeah.
Yeah,
But I guess he's not much of a dumbass because like yeah, I guess he knew the phone was for him.
yeah. Yeah, so he picks it up and Penguin says, you know, uh, you've been a good stool pigeon, so this is what I want you to do. I want you to get
I
outside.
get it.
Yep. And I want you to, take two steps and go to the left and keep walking. And the guy says, like, how will I know when I've reached where I'm supposed to go? He's like, trust me, you'll know. So I think he takes like only a couple steps and then falls through he Penguin has a trap door somehow to the sewer. I don't know when he
Like,
set this up.
okay, yeah, because I took it as it's probably like the a manhole cover or something like that. Because yeah, he said he takes like
Maybe.
one step and turn to your left. So obviously he knew like whatever it was. Yeah, so I was assuming that yeah, he just like jury rigged like the manhole or whatever. Yeah, because he goes to like underneath under the streets or whatever. So yeah, so I just took it as yeah, he just did
And
that.
did you see what he
And
landed in?
yeah, I was gonna say that was pretty good timing on the rubber ducky thing, which is like nice, another little nod to Batman. That Batman Returns, yeah,
Yeah.
to that style of stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so he's like floating in the rubber duck and Gordon's just like, ah, well, oh
Rubber
well.
ducky,
Yeah,
you're the one.
let's let this shit float downstream. So he he's like keeps on floating until like it reaches a stop. And so there's this like stone staircase. It's very Phantom of the Opera, which is going to be very appropriate in a second. And Penguin says, walk up the stairs. He walks up the stairs, and when he reaches the top of it, his ankles have these like manacles, like, or these shackles like strap him in. It's like, hey, what is this? I'm sorry. I love doing that voice. I'm
It's
sure
all
it's
good.
like grating on the ears of the listeners, but I'm having a ball here. Maybe it's the wine. I don't know. But he's going up this like manual elevator, and he's like at the top of this stage at the opera house, and he hears Veronica's voice, and she's like strapped to the chandelier, and Penguin comes up. He's like, "Ah, so you got here. Good, good boy." So he takes the briefcase and make sure that the money's inside, and he's like, and Pierce is like, "What's going on here?" And so Penguin goes, "Well, they say that the show's over when the fat bird sings, so here's me singing." And Veronica says, like, "Oswald, I'm sorry for what I did. I was actually starting to like you." And what's funny is Penguin says, "Shut up. This is going to cost you 1 million in cash when you all I wanted was a little friendship, and that would have cost you nothing." Okay, Penguin, let's be real here. You didn't want friendship. You wanted second base at best, like, or at least. So that's when he's counting the money, and that's when he finds a little bat homing device inside, and
Yeah,
he's like,
the back tracker, yeah,
"Yeah."
if you were.
So he's like, "Well, damn it." So that's when Batman, of course, shows up for the finale fight. And you know what? I thought this was going to be a pretty basic fight because again, this has been more of like a character kind of study episode than anything else. which is fine. Like they still have enough action, like maintain your attention. But it went all out. Like Penguin grabbed a sword. Like he was like
And at first, like he jumps on a friggin' fire breathing dragon prop.
with a Viking helmet. Like
Starts off,
Penguin's
yeah.
like,
That's a dragon's a type of bird, right?
yeah, in Penguin's book it
It's
counts.
as a lizard bird, right?
Yeah, I'll go with that. Hey, according to Riddler, it is. Yeah, like, and yeah, the thing is actually breathing fire. Like, I don't know what the budget is on that props department, man, but they are clearly working with some good materials. And yeah, like Batman's like, dodging around and
Yeah, then like the fire from the dragon like sets like the what's like Veronica or like the chandelier, like the chandelier or something like that, and cuts that, and like Batman saves them, and then Penguin continues to fight there after he saves them,
yeah, and
and then
Bat
go ahead.
no, and Batman he's like manages to knock Penguin off the dragon and catch him at the last second, only to put him on top of the curtain, like right on the curtain rod, where obviously he can't maintain his balance and to fall right off. Like, Batman, you're kind of an
Uh,
asshole. Like,
uh.
I mean, it does kind of tie beautifully because, like, in the beginning fight scene of the episode, like, he had just been, hit by a chandelier. So it was kind of like a little bit of a bookend thing. But yeah, it ends with Pierce being, like freed via like the welders of the police department, and Penguin being hauled away, and Veronica's like, I'm sorry for what I did to you, Penguin. Like I really was starting to like you. And I love Penguin's finishing lines because you know what they say, society is to blame. High society, that is. And not just only Penguin has given her the death stare, but the cops as well. They're just like, yeah, rich people suck.
Yeah, I think it even shows like Batman like looking off in the background too. So he's like that was even burn on you, Bruce, because you're one of the high society of Gotham. So
I
so
don't
it's by
count.
default.
I'm Batman.
So yeah, so what would you give this episode out of five scorned penguins?
I am gonna give it 4 out of 5. I think it was a really good character study. Penguin is a very easy character to shoehorn into a lot of episodes, but the fact that they were like, no, let's get to know Oswald. Let's kind of see what he's really about. And that it was a really emotional, story, and that you can see like he actually wants to make a change in his life, only for, somebody to try and play him for a fool was really good. And yeah, animation was great. Action was amazing. And yeah, no, it was a ball listening every single time that I heard that stupid accent. Like, how about you?
I think I give it a 4 or 5 as well, but so yeah, I think it was like a scene that we skipped over. He gets like one taken off for singing at the opera and singing along.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I think I liked it for the same reasons you did. Yeah, so I think I give it a 4 or 5 as well. But yeah, thanks for joining. That was the episode for this week. Thanks for joining us with Batcave to talk about Batman the animated series. Next week's episode will be What is Reality, which I think is another second, which should be our second Riddler episode, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, if I remember what the episode is. And you can follow us on Twitter/X at Beyond Backcast, on Instagram at Beyond the Backcast, and we are on YouTube now at youtube.com/ at Beyond the Backcast. Check us out there or wherever else you get your podcast. You can rate, review, subscribe. That'll help us out. And where can we find you on the internet, Braden?
You can find me on Instagram at Alfred is Zaddy. And you can
Ooh,
also find
Saturday.
us on Facebook, Beyond the Backcast. And we'd love for you guys to join our Discord. You can find it on our link tree on Beyond the Backcast on Instagram. And yeah, we're talking about all things on this show, the Penguin live action series on HBO Max. And yeah, we're probably going to have more than a couple things we'll be talking about the upcoming DC cinematic universe, which is unfolding into a quicker direction than we thought with the new Superman movie coming up.
Oh yeah, and the Creature Commandos come out and like it comes
That's
out in
right.
like
That's coming up
December.
even sooner.
Yeah, it's in December, right? I think the show.
Hmm.
But I think it's probably gonna be probably gonna end up being on Crave for us again too. So it's gonna be a fucking pain in the ass. So, but we'll see about that. So I have to finally bite the bolt and get a subscription to that so I can watch finally watch the Penguin and watch that. But we'll see where it comes out. But yeah, and you can follow me on Instagram at Stumpchuckman. But as I said, thanks for that is Braden and Adam at Beyond the Backcast, and thanks for joining us in the Batcave to talk about Batman the animated series. Goodbye, good chums. Kapow.